Before we begin, thank you very much to G1 Wheeljack for pitching in over on Patreon. Thank you very much for the contribution to help keep the channel going and the daily content coming. The comment attached to this was, for the lucky human who reads this on their video device, I recently found and reinvented a new product that will practically scare off the Decepticons. It's a rubber statue. I call it Leo. You'll have a prime time. What is this? What is this weird Leo Prime narrative? Like, okay, first Lio Convoy beats him, then he gets turned into a deployer, and now he's a full-size statue. While apparently still, or a decoy, while still being a decoy. What is going on? Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for pitching in. It's very appreciated. Okay, so we gotta talk competition for Transformers again, because guess what? It's heating up just a little bit. And for a few reasons. So, not to spoil anything, but next week we're going to be looking at a bunch of toys out of Korea that are kind of related to Transformers. So, Korea has this like running line of robots that were originally seemingly designed to edge Power Rangers out of their market as they were combining vehicles. But now the trends across these, that was like Hello Carbot. But now we have new toy lines that are pushing through that are really just doing Transformers better than Transformers. So we're going to talk about that a little bit today and kind of show you some of the options. We talked about this, I think sometime October-ish last year, but situations are changing and we've got a lot more since then. What you're looking at right now is Tachi, and Tachi here is a female from the Metal Cardbot line. Our one female from that line that I am aware of. I will admit I don't pay particularly close attention, but it's been hard to miss her. Like every robot person on my feed has been just obsessing over her. I'm pretty sure it's those thighs. I'm pretty sure it's the Chun-Li effect. Now, Tachi herself, as is strictly speaking, as far as like how we would compare her to a Transformer, she is obviously very detailed, very color intensive. A lot of that is done with insert plastic, but there is also a lot of paint on her, and it's far more intricate than a lot of Transformers we are used to today. It's more along the lines of a Cybertron toy in the overall feel of the design and character. Most of the joints on her are ratcheted, which is a pretty big deal that we just do not get in normal Transformers anymore. Her articulation, comparable to a good Cybertron toy, though, you know, she's part of a more modern line, so she gets articulation at the ankles as well. So, yeah, she's incredibly poseable, transforms well. I will say she's not the RC killer, because she requires part forming as well. But I do think she integrates herself into the vehicle mode way better than most RC toys do. And then there's the Carbot thing. So the whole thing with Carbot is an additional accessory block that lets you augment your figure. In this case, Tachi basically gets a super mode. Super long legs, claws, new mask, gives you a lot more battle options. Now, normal version, she is about Voyager class size in robot mode, and then when you get all the accoutrements on, like she's taller than a leader class toy. Or as tall, depending on the leader, I guess. But yeah, that's a pretty hefty figure, you know? So yeah, like she's been all over the place. I've just seen, like, people went nuts for her when her design first dropped, you know? It's like Cheetor as trans tech, but also female. And then she has this as well. The vehicle mode just looks sick. The vehicle mode also just looks really, really cool. Yeah, a lot of play value and just a really large and satisfying figure. Now, the issue here with all these Korean lines, we've had these for years now, but they've been kind of like a more elitist collector thing because they've been so cost prohibitive. Now, things like tariffs have made that worse, though there's still a few that you can find pretty reasonably. And then you have the new advent. They are now pushing into the US. So through Agabus and Big Bad Toy Store, you can now just find metal card bots at a far more reasonable price. Heavy iron here at $74.99 is bigger than the $60 leader class figures you are going to find on the market. Built a lot more solid, I will add as well. This is a little bit concerning. So really, the only thing that really ever prevented like Cardbot or any of these other Korean lines from really kind of taking a chunk of the Transformers market space, two reasons. One of it is admittedly some tribalism in the fandom, where you have a lot of people who just assume Transformers are the best way to experience a transforming robot experience, and they won't go through anyone else. This is the third party argument of like, well, third party has so much better versions of these Transformer characters. But I mean, even going beyond Transformers, we do the same thing in WWE and the wrestling right now, where WWE is putting on an absolute crap product and overcharging everybody for it and doing horrible things to their industry and their talent and their fans. But you have this alternative called AEW, where the prices are cheap, the matches are really intense, and they treat their talent really well. And it's a far better product. But you have the tribalism. They'll tell you, wait, we are only WWE. That's the only wrestling that exists. Everything else must be worse. Not always true. Not always true. So now that part is going to get challenged because the second part is cost. And the cost is now coming down for actually being able to experience these toys for the first time. Now, I will admit, the first run of these US toys is hitting a snag. So a lot of people are reporting there are QC problems with this run of Cardbots in the US, which is a really bad thing to have happen. Like, this could, like widespread QC issues are going to kill a line like this the second, before it even gets a chance to get off the ground, which is really unfair, because this is a great opportunity to have something, actually compete with Transformers and maybe force them to like up their game a little bit. However, there is the other factor, which is the last time we talked about this, Transformers had not yet had a price hike. So these days, a deluxe Transformer is going to cost you $28. And it's kind of disgusting. This is my photo. I found this at one of my local Walmarts. And yeah, they had the reissue of the Mandalorian crossover figure. And that's a really, really good toy. But the brand new run of it costs $60. For something that's a little bit bigger than a Voyager class toy, it is now a $60 figure. That's stupid. That is incredibly stupid and outrageous. So if I look on like the menu for like what Cardbots go for, here in the US or in the US run, you've got figures that are like large deluxe Voyager class, as heavier class than like Voyagers are today. Like, okay, Mech Tackle. I just randomly looked at one. Mech Tackle is a $39.99 figure. Transforms into a garbage truck, has a very solid looking robot mode. $40 for an 8.5-inch figure, which is considerably taller than your standard 7-inch Voyager for less money. That's big. That's a really big thing. Like, the only thing I really felt like, yes, there's the tribalism, but there's also the price point. And now that the price point is not going to be an issue, oh boy, this could legitimately be trouble. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, this genuinely could start turning heads if enough people start figuring out how good the toy lines are. And any like that that alternative has been missing for so long. Like, I feel like Transformers can coast because no one else is doing what they're doing. Now people are. And it's not just Cardbot and their parent company. We can look at 52 Toys, who are still rolling with the Beast Box stuff. You can pretty much get just about any animal as a 2x2x2 transforming cube now. It's kind of wild how much that they've done and how long that line has been going, and it is still going, and they are still coming up with new things. Like you've got their more modular line that transforms from beast to to vehicle. You've got ones that turn into robots now. They do proper like Transformer-esque things. And then you have things like this. And this is actually a pretty brilliant set. So what you're looking at here are 4 squares of plastic that can separate on their own and each become an individual vehicle. And those individual vehicles can then combine into the robot you see. And yet it all still compresses into a 2x2x2 cube when you transform it all down. That's really impressive. Like, we're getting to the point where, what we used to be just these little, like, simple little animals unfolding from cubes are now turning into full Power Ranger mechs and still do the cube thing. It's crazy just how far developed that line is, and it's still going and still doing new spin-offs. And those are readily available on Amazon anytime you want. Also something you can be found on Amazon, though I finally saw these in a Walmart in person. You have the Armorsaurs line. Now, this is really trying to eat Power Rangers lunch here, but I do feel like their mid-range is still a pretty nice little transforming toy experience. Are you going to get highly articulated figures? No, but you are also not going to get the little kid dino truck line thing going on. Like, they have a decent little level of transformation to them. If you like their look, they are pretty fun for, I think, $16. I got one and I was really, really impressed by it. And I might just go back to said Walmart to grab the other two. That's how much I liked the first one. Like, they are cost effective and they're fun to transform. That's all I really ask for. And it's something Hasbro has trouble doing these days. I will admit, a lot of Hasbro product really has not, like, gripped me lately. I feel like it's a whole other video, but I feel like Transformers is now pushing out so much that the quality of individual figures is suffering. I don't feel like they're trying as hard as they used to. But that's a whole other topic. That's a whole other video for another day. I mentioned the things you can now get on Amazon. We can't discount that because, frankly, we as Transformer fans, kind of disregard all these other lines that are available on Amazon that are Transformer-esque. We need to stop doing that because, well, they are not going to provide you or I the experience we are looking for. Okay, those look like a fun set of Legends Transformers from the movie days, for $28. But they're going to be crap quality. But that said, the kids involved here, it's not crap to them. And to the parents buying these things for their kids, it's not crap. It's just a toy for their kid. When I do those toy rescues, and I go to the thrift shops and I find all these random ones that end up being a lot of rescue bots. You know what I find in every one of those trips? I find pieces of these guys. I was just at a Goodwill the other day and I bought a bag of figures because, well, frankly, it had this guy, which if you cannot see, that is the Transmetal Scorponok from the Beast Wars Happy Meal toys. So, yeah, I grabbed the bag basically just to rescue this guy. What was in it? Half of this thing on screen. We've talked about these figures in the past. The really cool ones, they don't do knockoffs of. Like the one that turned, remember I've had the one that turned, unflipped into a big spider. And it looked really, really cool. Toy magic, But no, the one they knock off all the time is this dragon. This dragon's easy to find. And yeah, I've found multiple bits of this dragon every time I have gone shopping. So yeah, the high price of Transformers at the store shelf is driving people to these cheap alternatives off of Amazon. And I'll tell you this, it's not over yet because there's other toy lines that are going to start moving the same way if the Cardbot thing moves on. If the Cardbot rollout in the US is actually successful and they can start getting into more stores, honestly, if Cardbots was in a retail space like a Target or a Walmart next to a Transformer, it'd be over. Like they would absolutely take a big chunk of the market for themselves. But it's not over for us just yet. If Cardbot works out in the online spaces that it's in now, you're going to end up getting the other Cardbot stuff down the line. Here's another one I just picked up. This is Bloodwing. And Bloodwing looks absolutely awesome. So it's an ambulance who turns into a very prim and proper vampire transforming robot. And he has a bat friend who becomes a set of wings, as well as a scythe for him to wield. And this is basically even the van mode even has like a hover drone mode. It's crazy. They're doing ridiculous and fun stuff. It's this kind of character that I don't really see in Transformers anymore. They're content with the characters they've made in the past. They're not willing to do anything weird and risky like this anymore. And that's kind of a shame because there's so much character to him without me even having to see the cartoon. I just love the idea of like, no, we're not going to give you a transfusion. You are going to give us a transfusion. So this is Cardbot. This is Metal Cardbot. But there's also a toy line from the same brand, from the same company called Mini Force. Now, do you remember the little like Ankylosaurus tank transformer that I reviewed in the past? That's Mini Force. But I want to show you the one I just got. Look at him. Look at him. This is like one of the most magnificent pieces of plastic I have ever witnessed. You can see him right there. He's right behind me, isn't he? You've been looking at him the whole time. So, this is Rex Kaiser Limited Black Edition. And it's the Grimlock she told you not to worry about. It's incredible. Genuinely incredible. You've got shoulder cannons with extending barrels. You've got a massive sword. You've got a really nice transformation into a T-Rex mode. It's a little bit Brave coded in that it has a separate car that holds the head. So you pop off the car to transform the individual vehicle. And then you have just like this really hulking black and gold T-Rex, which is so cool. The cape on this thing, double layered, 8 posing wires. It's crazy. Like genuinely one of the best pieces of plastic I have handled in a long time. Oh, and fully articulated also, by the way. Now, to give you kind of a scale here is Star Optimus next to him. So he is smaller than a Titan class figure, but he's bigger than a Commander. If I'm gauging him, he's about the size of like a modern Combiner. That gives you any idea? I paid around $145 for this one, which good chunk of money, I will admit, but I think he plays better than Star Optimus does at 160. And the 160 was before tariffs. Remember, the next Commander class, like the next Titan, is still going to be a smaller Titan like this, but he's going to be 190. And that's the Grimlock, who only has the robot mode and the Dino mode, instead of having, the stuff the Star Convoy has. Base mode, little Micromaster, Hot Rod. All that stuff is going to be stripped out. It's literally just going to be a big dinosaur transformer, comparable to the one on the left here, but more expensive. So yeah, like you can see where like the playing field is evening out, and that's really not good for the Transformer brand. The higher they drag those prices up, the closer the more viable a lot of these import lines are going to get, even if they aren't brought over to the US. And like I said, if Cardbot works, they will bring them over to the US, where they will be much cheaper. Oh, also Rex Kaiser, also a combiner. If you've got everyone, that's his original color scheme. If you like him in blue and red, that's available too. It's a purple one too. And I'm going to finish this off with like one last value thing when it comes to these lines. This is Blast Train. There's another one that I recently got. Now, again, about the same size. It comes up to Star Optimus's chest. Now, Blast Train here is a 3-piece locomotive. You have the diesel engine at the front, and you have 2 cars that he can tow. The engine itself fully transforms into its own good robot mode that's about leader class size. Really, really nice. Fully articulated. And then his cars transform into the big arms and legs of his super mode, which you see there. And again, he's still fully articulated in this mode. And then you have the separate card accessory that gives him his big claws. Again, it feels like way more play value than Star Optimus has. And this guy, you can get for under 120 off of eBay right now. So now, because of the price hikes for Hasbro, and because they have been shrinking down some of their product at the same time, they're actually making toys like this a far bigger threat to their share of the market. And really, it's all about awareness at this point. If the general public started seeing these, if kids started seeing these, Transformers would be in huge trouble. I'm just going to say that. We collectors, if we just want... How many times have I run into collectors who have just say, like, I'm so sick of G1, I wish Transformers would do something different. Here's a Cheetah Girl. Go buy the Cheetah Girl. The Cheetah Girl's a really cool toy. So, if you want to see how good of a toy, next week I will be doing some reviews of some of the card bots and potentially Rex Kaiser as well. Depends on how complicated they end up being to review. Rex is crazy. But you'll see next week how some of them are, just so you have some idea of what the competition is like these days. But for now, thank you all for watching. This is your awareness that, yes, there are more than one transforming robot toy line out there, and feel free to take a dip in them, because, yeah, sometimes it's a nice little pool to swim in. So, thank you all for watching. I will see you next time. Hello everyone, I am Astral Agent Magnetar, a Tokusatsu VTuber, and I am streaming 4 times a week over on Twitch, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday afternoons, and a special late night one on late Friday/early Saturday. So come watch, come hang out, and let's make an impact together.